Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it and give this video a like. We appreciate it.
Podcast below in the description. Check it out.
And you already know about our friends at wineaccess.com/ham. 20% off. Go get it.
Yeah, go do a gift right now. Send it to a friend. wineaccess.com/ham.
All right, John. So Wednesday night, you watched. Anybody that turned on the ESPN was able to watch an incredible series because these are great baseball series. Like this has happened consistently. That Padres Dodgers looks incredible. And it was no different. And you said to me before we did the podcast, like, I want to talk about Padres Dodgers. The environment was wild. And it just every time we talk about how great the Padres environment is, I think about what a crime, what a shame, what a waste it is that Justin Herbert has to cut through the LA noise and is not just, co-king of LA with Fernando Tatis. Because Justin Herbert should be co-king of LA with Fernando Tatis. It's a real shame.
Yeah, I mean, Guy, I dusted off the bottle last night, and by the time I got into bed, like it was like the 8th or 9th inning, that place, the environment in San Diego, I think the Dodgers have led baseball in attendance the last several years. Now, they have, I think, one of the biggest stadiums, so it's not necessarily apples to apples. I don't know exactly how many people this place holds. Place was rocking. And it was an incredible environment. And you and I have talked about this. I went to school with a lot of people from the San Diego area, North County, a lot of them, but a lot of people that were huge Charger fans in the early 2000s, and they were good. And they're relevant in L.A. And I get it. They have, relative to L.A. and the Bay Area, probably some corporate limitations relative to what's L.A., second biggest market, what's San Francisco, top 5 market in America. Yeah, I get it. But you cannot convince me that they couldn't have had a shitload of success in San Diego because they were having it, right? They were good.
Attendance was not their issue.
What became, I think, in the 2010s was like it happened up here with Oakland, and it's happening right now with the A's. Or I guess I meant with the Raiders. And I think people get so much moving fatigue, and Dean Spanos went through it over and over. I think people just got tired of it. But you can never convince me that they couldn't have worked if the owner, maybe he didn't have the capital. I don't know. Clearly, I don't think he has the vision. But Justin Herbert should have, he's going to waste in L.A., which is sad, where he would have excelled with the Chargers potentially. I mean, he has to maintain this, and he only had 1 year. They didn't win a fucking thing, and they hired a coach who's been in the league 5 years. Who knows? I mean, everyone's blowing him. He could be a disaster. But we understand Herbert's talent. We saw it last year, and I think you see the Padres are now good. With the Chargers have been good before, like many times in our lifetime they have been good, and it was cool. And now it's like no one even cares. It's sad.
We see it when we do Chargers content. People respond to it. There is a large volume of them, John. There are passionate people. Padre fans. They defend their brown uniforms. They're just something. Their stadium is gorgeous, right? It's kind of, to me, it's kind of similar, not in terms of market, all that other stuff, but it's kind of similar to the Giants in that when it's good, not only is it fun to watch, but it's cool, like in terms of in person. People who want to go on a trip and go to a few baseball stadiums, San Diego's a great place because it's a gorgeous stadium and it's an amazing place to go visit, right? It's a bang bang. It's a tourist destination, and then it's a tourist destination within a tourist destination. I don't know, a lot of owners in the recent movement in the NFL. Can you think of an owner who has moved his franchise and we look back and said the owner regrets it, right? Like the Ravens don't regret going to Baltimore. The Browns don't regret creating, I guess, a new team in Baltimore. The Colts don't regret leaving Baltimore for Indianapolis. Stan Kroenke's not going to regret, in all likelihood, right, leaving St. Louis for L.A. We'll see what happens with the Raiders, but the stadium is beautiful. We'll see what the attendance is like and how much money they make. But I would imagine right now there are zero regrets.
It's possible for Mark to regret it because it wouldn't have been possible here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's no regrets for Mark Davis, even though we don't know what their attendance is going to look like as he looks at, what he has now, what belongs to him. But so my point is, we know they're sold.
We know they're sold out in Vegas. We
I'm just saying,
attendance is going to look like fan-wise.
That's what I'm saying. The owner never regrets it. Dean Spanos is never going to regret it because his life is easy. He's paying $1 in rent. Doesn't matter. But in terms of like whether or not it was just as good as it could have been in the other place, maybe it'll be fantastic in 10 years in LA. But sharing a market when you could have had your own market, not a single franchise in the league would choose to share a market when they could have had their own market. Not a single one.
No.
And now you got one of the best young stars in the league, Justin Herbert. And the town, what a great place to have been
me.
San Diego.
To me, he's the only one guy that doesn't regret it, just simply because his life's easier, not because he's going to make more money or be more relevant. He's definitely the only guy that moved who is dramatically less relevant. You can be like, oh, the Rams. No, the Rams are fucking relevant. Bullshit. I mean, the stadium is theirs.
Yeah.
And that thing is a fucking Taj Mahal. So it's like,
and he's got a tenant.
Break. Yeah, and he has a tenant, exactly. Now it doesn't pay much, but it just shows you that I think sometimes California, it gets the proper rap because when you lose, we will not care, and I never blame a human because as a consumer, I don't give a shit when you lose. So I can't, and I do this for a living. So let alone a fan who just casually does this for like they're just it's part of their fun. Right, or an escape. Like we're just not wired. We're wired differently out here. Having been in Philadelphia and New York and Washington and Boston, they just think a little different. But this notion that like, oh, San Diego just is like a surfing town, like bullshit. You know, the owner for the Padres, I think his last name's Reyes. He's really rich, right? He's in the beer business, and I think he got really old and he was tired of losing and he started spending cash. And look what's happened. Now they're fun. And they're really fun. Now they nailed this draft pick, but they signed Hosmer, they signed Machado, he's given them the green light to make moves for like Yu Darvish.
Yep.
Like, you know, the one thing the Chargers were always known for, and for whatever reason, you know, I was telling you this, it's not a perfect like analogy, but relative to New York, California and New York, the two biggest states in terms of definitely money. And population, I guess probably Texas is there now too, and they have a bunch of teams as well. But I know the New York market better in terms of their teams. Their second-rate team, right? The Mets, the Jets. I get the Islanders would be one too, and they're going to Game 7 of the conference finals. They don't feel cheap, and I think sometimes our second-rate team out here. And when I say second-rate, if you're a fan of the Raiders or the Chargers or the Angels or whatever. That doesn't mean like you're still a big league team or whatever, but you're not the main team in the market. That for whatever reason, like the A's were always known as like they're cheap. The Chargers, like they're cheap. You know, the Raiders actually weren't necessarily cheap. They just didn't have the money. Like Al would always try to spend money. Same with Mark. Like I give them credit for having fucking some balls. But Dean Spanos would never, not in a million years, do what Mark did when he should have. Like go to LA. Like he should be also trying to sign. I mean, you'd want to coach probably a little better than Gruden, but like something like that, like Lincoln Riley, it'll be like, damn, right? Take a huge swing. They would never do that. I mean, the A's won't spend $1, and I don't blame them, but they just operate like a low budget franchise in a big market. And I think that's just something that's unique. Like the New York the Mets went through a stretch, but it was because their owner got ripped off by Bernie Madoff. You know,
James Dolan's bad. I don't think free agency cheapness is the issue with the Knicks, right?
No, but he has unlimited money. Same with the Nets. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Nobody calls him cheap. I mean, maybe people do call him cheap for other things, but I think
the Angels actually would fall into that category, right? Because they're the second team, but their owner spends a huge amount of money.
Both of those teams do, right? Maybe there's something to that. The market allows you to get away with it, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, but
these guys would never do that. I mean, Dean and the A's owner would never overextend themselves. They would never take that risk.
No, but what New York tries to do is make your life miserable, so it's no fun for you to own the team. Like what people are trying to do to Dan Snyder, which is not working, obviously. What Knicks fans try to do to James Dolan is make it so miserable for him that he'll sell the team. No one. You know, out here we just stop. No one tries to get you.
I think they do that a little bit, but I'll even defend Dan Snyder this. They're trying to do that because they just think he's a terrible owner, not because he won't spend money or buy coaches.
But I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying like the fan base would rather just go, screw you, I'm out, than spend 10 years trying to get you to sell the team. Too much energy. We just move on to other things out here.
Yeah, a good point. Yeah.
Maybe that's, a part. But anyway, back to Herbert. Now, look, Herbert's in L.A., so, we I'm not crying for Justin being in L.A. Life's good. But that scene we saw last night, like Charger-Rams games, it'd be cool if those games – now, they're not in the same division like the Padres. They're not even in the same conference like the Padres and the Dodgers. So it helps some of baseball's geographical rivalries is those teams are usually in the same division. Football, if you're in the geographical vicinity, you might actually be in the opposite conference, right?
Usually are, yeah.
So but it'd be great if you had the LA, San Diego. You get those teams to play in the preseason every year. Hopefully they play each other in the regular season, and it's a real thing. LA's going to choose. LA is probably choosing the Rams, or maybe they're tepid on both. But I know the point is San Diego would be more passionate about probably either team in LA. It's too bad.
Very sad.
Too bad, because they have a clear identity of what they are, and they love what's theirs. Plus, a new stadium in San Diego would have been.
I felt like San Diego Stars were a pretty big deal, like in our youth. Whether it was Tony Gwynn, whether it was, I'm trying to think of some of the. I guess Dan Fouts was a little before our time, but even
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, it was a big fucking deal. I mean, I think Lo
Junior
Neal,
Seau.
on part. Oh, that's the name I was looking for. I mean, and he was synonymous. He was the ultimate, right? SC to San Diego, but it was just like he felt very San Diego, like an Islander. It was just like it was perfect. Who didn't love Junior Seau? And Herbert has that potential just because he's the most. He's got a chance, unlike Stafford, who's kind of feels a little bit mercenary-ish. I'm not blaming the Rams or Stafford for doing it, but it's
just not there.
When you draft a guy, there's an organic feel, like West Coast guy, Pac-12 guy comes to this. It just,
you're right.
What could have been?
You cannot to me, if Steph Curry signed as a free agent with the Warriors today, Warriors fans would love him. Klay Thompson, whatever. But there is nothing quite like the attachment Giants fans have for Buster Posey or Brandon Crawford, right? Just when it's your guy from the beginning, it's just
nothing.
You.
Even the frustrating players like Belt, you're just part of the package, Same with any player. You just live with his ups and downs. He's just part of like the family, good and bad.
Yeah. I wonder if Kevin Durant, if the Sonics had never left, would Kevin Durant have just been a career Seattle? I feel like Seattle would have been a good market for him.
Felt like he was born to roam a little.
Maybe he was, John, but like Oklahoma City was a small bubble. I think Seattle would have been a good market for KD. Like he would have been a star, but it wouldn't have been suffocating.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I mean potentially
they would have let him live. I think maybe a little more. I don't know. But
if they won, I think part of it was losing. He was addicted to trying to find a winner.
Yeah. No, look, maybe they would have got free agents there. I don't know.